Turning back now to Maui, where only 9 of the more than 110 victims of last week's wildfire have been identified. The most recently confirmed victims were between 71 and 90 years old. Hundreds of families are still waiting for confirmation as crews search through the rubble. Our Lilia Luciano has more from Maui. Lilia, good morning.
Hey, good morning. This morning we're just standing in Kula where, of course, we have been reporting all week. Yesterday we spent some time in Lahaina. We came back here just to make sure that we're not, taking resources and space in an area where there's still dozens of cadaver dogs and search crews trying to sift through the ashes and identify the dead.
The painstaking search for victims continues in Lahaina. Crews have covered less than 40% of the burn zone. Hundreds are still unaccounted for. Among them, Joe Schilling.
He was texting me that now there are four houses burning and then cars exploding on the road.
His friend Corey Blue says Joe was on his way to her home when the fires raged all around him.
I said, try and get out. He said, we can't get out. We can't see. We can't breathe. It hurts to breathe outside.
Blue believes her friend died in the fire trying to help others evacuate, but his remains have not been found.
Everybody loved Joe. He was the go-to guy, had a really, really, really big heart.
Family members from across the island and beyond have been giving DNA samples for authorities to identify the more than 100 remains found in the wreckage of Lahaina. Many have turned to an online spreadsheet with thousands of names for updates on missing loved ones.
It's not accurate.
Clifford Abahai flew in from California to help find his 98-year-old grandmother, Louise. Twice, the online list noted that she was found, but he says upon checking with family, that wasn't the case.
Do you still have hope?
Yes. I got to keep the faith until I see, her ashes or, something stating that this is her. I'm going to keep the faith, and I'm going to keep on searching for her.
Sadly, one of the 3 victims who were named last night among the 111 remains found was Virgie Dofa, 90 years old. She's the other relative that Clifford had been searching for. He tells us that they were always together, that they were best friends.
Well, heartbreaking. Do we know if Maui had any kind of action plan for wildfires?
Wildfires are something that they have happened here, but certainly not to this degree. We're learning more about just the emergency preparedness. Jonathan Vigliotti, our colleague, yesterday was at a press conference with the head of emergency management here in Maui, who happened to not be on the island, according to local reports, the night the fire started. He was asking him about just his training, whether or not he had training in disasters before. Apparently that is not the case. There's just a lot of questions. And also as reporters, yesterday I was talking to a group of colleagues who've been here from the beginning, and there just seems to be a lot of answers that are pending, a lot of questions that are going unanswered. Of course, the priority here for authorities, for FEMA, for the county, for the state is the survivors, and also to give answers to those relatives, to find and identify those victims, to find and identify the remains and bring some closure to families. But at the same time, there's so many questions about why the alarms didn't sound. And in that press conference where Jonathan Vigliotti was, he asked precisely that question. And the head of emergency management here in Maui told him that they didn't sound the sirens that are there for emergencies because people here in Maui are used to using those sirens as an alert for a tsunami. So he says that it was on purpose, or that they feared that if they sounded the sirens, people would go up into where the fire was as opposed to down to the water. That's
Lilia.
just one of those big questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. Lilia, thank you.